Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. I don't know about you out there, but tension here is building for that Europa League final. We've got some positive updates as well from training this morning with the likes of Xerxes, Yoro and Delo all back in training. We've also got some news as well surrounding Liam Delap and Matheus Cunha. So get involved as usual, have your say, and we'll try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. Tension is building here. Tension is building.
I don't know about you out there, but the tension's building here. And I know some of you are not getting your sleep, because I certainly aren't. 2:30 in the morning, I woke up, and I'll tell you what I was thinking about Onana. I'm not going to tell you, was it a dream or a nightmare, right? Because I don't want to spoil my day. But once Onana come into my head, there was no way on earth was I getting back to sleep. But hey, the tension is building. And around here, Old Trafford, you can feel it.
Well, let's hope Onana has a good night or a quiet night, because Tottenham do have a front three, front four that can score goals. It's just that they do leak goals, and let's hope we can take advantage of that. But just going straight into the chat, there's a few of you already getting involved on the story, what we're going to discuss on Liam Delap, and I'm quite surprised that people just aren't having him, Liam Delap. I'm not saying everyone, but people who are already in the chat just don't think he's the answer. But, you know, let me know what your thoughts and opinions are out there. Keep getting involved, because we will discuss it. Jam United from our members club says, well worth the membership. Get involved, lads. Thanks for the kind words, Jam United.
Cheers.
And yeah, like I say, people just not really buying Delap. It's a player that I do think that can actually improve if he comes to United. I really do.
I'm surprised at that. I mean, when you look at it, £30 million release clause, big, strong lad, holds the ball up, tough. Players bounce off him. He is so tough, fast as well, and scores goals. For £30 million, I think this is an excellent acquisition if we get him. But I am surprised at how many people don't really like him. And if you look at the forwards we've got, listen, I don't get it, mate. He is an upgrade, and that's what we need. Upgrades on what we've got.
Yeah, definitely an upgrade on what we've got in terms of goal scoring in Højlund and Xerxes for me personally. And like you say there, I just think he's got the attributes there where he can improve even further. He looks like a player when he's on the pitch as well. He's aggressive, you know, the intensity there to what a close down, even make tackles, hold the ball up, and he's good with the ball at his feet. His ball carrying for me is really, really good as well as a centre forward, and such a young lad.
Yeah, I've likened to him to a young Mark Hughes, where he's tough, takes no nonsense, people bounce off him, he's aggressive, but in the right way. It doesn't go over the top. So for me, I think he's ideal. It's exactly what we need at this moment. For me, I look at it and say, what type of players do we want? Well, what type of players we want? Grafters, people who are ready to get right down in there, hard and dirty. Dogs of war, that's how I describe what we need. And for me, he's ideal up there. He'll hold the ball up. He'll bring players into the play, whereas we seem to lose the ball up front, and then we lose possession, and then we just don't counter-attack or anything. So for me, a young Mark Hughes and a proper dog of war.
Yeah, no, I do agree with what you're saying, especially with that term, dog of war, etc. We do need players to come in who are going to bring a higher intensity in the way we play football. But for me, he also has got that quality as well.
Yeah, he's got the quality. And to be honest with you, if it falls through and we don't get him, I think we'll rue the day we didn't sign him, because I think he'll go on to do better things than what he's been doing at Ipswich. He's shown he's got the talent. He's shown he's got the attributes. And for me, there isn't any arguing over it, in my opinion.
Yeah, in this report from Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic, it does also say that there is several clubs interested in Delap, including Chelsea, but Ipswich have given permission to travel to Manchester to get a first-hand sense of what a transfer to Old Trafford would entail. So do you think they'll show him around where they're going to have the barbecue after the Europa League final once we win it? You know, this is what we're going to do, etc. Get the burgers out, get the sausages out, etc.
I don't think the barbecue's going to sway it. Look, he's in meaningful discussions with other clubs, and what you've got to hope for is that he turns up at Old Trafford and that the people put everything out there for him, show him around, tell him the story, and really get him into being part of the group at Manchester United. Like I say, meaningful discussions. That's the report with other clubs. So you want him to come to Old Trafford, go away with a lasting effect of like Manchester United. I didn't realise how big this club is, what it is, and everything else like that. You know, when you compare it, listen, Chelsea are on the horizon. They look as though they're well in for him. So when you compare the two clubs, United have got nothing on him. So what does he want? Does he want a lasting, meaningful football career? And it'll be at Manchester United. He'll be adored as far as I'm concerned. Going to Chelsea, not a patch on Manchester United. We know what they've won under Abramovich and everything else like that, but that was all paid for. So for me, I look at United and I say to myself, it's poor. Everything about the club, behind the scenes, the management and everything has been poor. This season has been terrible, but you've got to look at going forward. So really, has the plan been put into him, and has it excited him enough to come here as the number one striker? Because that's what he will be, the number one striker. I really, really hope so.
Does also say, like I've got it highlighted there, that the finances are there, which is irrelevant if we do win or we don't win the Europa League, to sign Delap and Cunha, and other forwards and other options have been considered as well, like with Brentford's and Mbeumo, you know, Sporting's Gyökeres and Napoli's Victor Osimhen, which I don't really believe too much, to be honest with you. I don't think United are interested in Osimhen, but me personally, as a preference, you know, my number one choice would be Gyökeres, but I can see the value for money there. And I think that is one of the things on the list there with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and all the men behind the scenes, that it's about value for money as well with bringing players in.
I think it'd be absolutely madness not to have a couple of picks where they say, right, this player, that player. They must have three forwards in mind. One might break down, another might break down, and then they end up with one other. So there must be three choices. And if there's not, then they're doing a dereliction of duty as far as I'm concerned. Yes, this might break down. He might go to Chelsea or some other club. But then the other players, what have been named, they are targets. I think agents will have been spoken to. But these discussions, let's get these discussions over with, and let's have a clear idea of whether he's coming to Man United. And to be honest with you, I think by Monday, Tuesday, we should know. I just look at the release clause, 30 million, 62.5 million for Cunha. Listen, that money's already there, and you have to look at going, do we want one forward or do we need two? You look back over time and you need two or three forwards, definitely. Now, I do believe Højlund will be staying. That's my opinion. I don't see United getting rid of him. So there's two strikers. Then you've got Xerxes. Do the club think them three strikers are enough to move us forward? You know, everyone's got different opinions out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will get involved with their own opinions on Højlund. For me, it just all depends, doesn't it? I think every player in this squad, barring the likes of maybe Ahmad, Bruno Fernandes, maybe one or two others like Euro, they all have got a price. And I do think if a club maybe in Italy, which I've seen anyway, rumours surrounding like Inter Milan, Juventus, that could be possibly interested in Højlund. If they come in with a bid, I think they will definitely listen to the offers and sit round the table, me for Højlund and other players as well.
Well, I look at Højlund and I look at some of the players, and people are like going, we've got to sell him, we've got to sell him. What we've got to do is get rid of the deadwood, and that's what we've been screaming for a long time, and this summer is so important. But I go back in time under Tommy Docherty in the early 70s, and Tommy Docherty came in, we got relegated, and what he did was he just cleared all the deadwood out, and he brought in better players, younger players, people who wanted to attack and everything. Gordon Hill, Stevie Coppell, people like that. He brought in Lou Macari, all that. He just transformed it. And that's what I'm hoping what happens this summer. So if you bring in Delap, you bring in Cunha, and you bring in two more players, then really you've got to look at it. There's a lot of people leaving and there's people out on loan you want to get rid of. This will be a full clear out. And for me, in my time supporting United, this would be the second time a full clear out has gone. And I go back to it. We will have three strikers. Xerxes was improving. Will Hoyland improve with the new atmosphere, the new change, the new regime and everything going round? He's young, and I think he will stay, and let's see how he is for a year. That's the way it is. It's a rebuild. You are not going to get instant change in this football club. No way at all. But what you will get is improvement by bringing in 3 or 4 good, solid players who are willing to fight for the club and getting rid of all the deadwood. And it's all down to Man United. Let's have what you call, let's get back to what Man United really means. And you want players who come for that reason and that reason alone. And I hope Delap comes for that reason. I want to be at Manchester United. I want to help turn this club around. That's what you want to hear from him.
Yeah, a lot of you is getting involved on that discussion. Delap, a lot of people mentioning Gyökeres as well. Mr. Angry has gifted 1 membership. I think that's to Mike Silvestro. So give a big thanks, Mike, to Mr. Angry. Fred Grantham from our members club says, I know Delap isn't what we would have bought in the past, but it's different times now, guys. And it is different times, especially on the financial side. Not that, you know, that should be a big issue to us fans and supporters. I mean, we want Manchester United back competing, and yeah, a lot of us have got that patience where we think it's going to take at least 2 to 3 summer transfer windows, but we need to see progress with these signings that we're making in the summer transfer window. Well, that they're the right signings that they want to play.
Listen, we've got to make the right signings. We've had enough mistakes, and he talks about how we used to sign the right players from the past. I don't think there's too many players from the past where you could really say on your hand, these are the right players we've signed in the last 5-10 years. You know, how many players really have been poor and let us down and not performed? And we've spent lots of money on lots of players and they've just not done it for this club. So I think what it is, it's his age as well. He's going for the young ones. So for me, that's what he talks about, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, when he came in, turning this club round, getting the average age down. And I think that's what he's looking at. And you have to look at it, £30 million for Delap. They're not going to lose money on it. And that's one of the aspects of going for him. That's how they look at it with the finances and the youth. So for me, this isn't a gamble. This is just like, I would say, a steal for a kid of his age and the price we're paying, especially when you see the finances and how much players are going to go for.
Yeah, and look, you know, for me, you know, people out there might disagree, but I do think he's got all the attributes like we've mentioned, not in just today's video, previous videos. And let's be honest, you know, Amarin's job is the manager, and he's also paid to get the best out of the players. And he should be able to do that for me with Delap.
Well, he's got to get the best out of the players, but he won't get the best out of the players until the regime and the standards have been ripped apart inside this club, because the standards are garbage. And I mean absolute garbage. So he's got to set the stall out this summer, and he's got to bring in fresh faces, people who want to be here, who want to work. So for me, standards are the first thing what's got to be done soon as this season is over.
Yeah, Craig from our members club says we need Gyökeres be a brilliant addition to our club. And with Gyökeres, I mean, with, you know, the profile of him, you know, his goal scoring record, like I mentioned before, he would be my first choice. But every top team out there needs a centre forward with the calibre of what Gyökeres has. And for me, I just think there might be other options there that he will take with teams that are probably more established with Champions League football, challenging, you know, season after season for trophies, where Manchester United, look, where we currently are at the moment, we're not there.
I've no problem with Gyökeres coming to Manchester United, but I look at what's been going on. I see reports, and I don't think we're far advanced actually talking to him. Yes, we might be able to go in for him in a week or so if this breaks down with Delap. But I think other clubs further down the line in discussions, I think he's got plenty of options, and I don't think United really have pushed it. I think they're just hoping to get Delap, seal that one, and then just draw a line under forwards, because like I say, we'll have 3 forwards with Xerxes and Hoyland there.
Yeah, Brian makes an interesting point. Brian Reed says, I think Delap isn't popular because people have their hopes already set on Gyökeres.
Yeah, it's a choice really, isn't it? And it's who you've looked at. You know, people will have looked at Gyökeres for a long time And with Delap, I think it's only been over the last couple of months people have really got interested in it. And once you're interested in one player, you tend not to look at another. I've looked at quite a few, and for me, I think I look at it from a club point of view as well. And I think they're going for it based on cost and based on age and the development and the improvement you can get from Delap. And there is big improvement to come from this lad.
Yeah, we've also got to look at, the likes of Jadon Sancho, Rashford, Anthony. Hopefully, that deal with Chelsea gets sorted with Sancho. Rashford and Anthony also move on, whether that's a loan deal or a permanent transfer. Fingers crossed it's permanent transfers, but they will need to be replaced in the squad as well.
Yeah, but there's other players in the squad what need replacing. And people out there are screaming, and I mentioned him at the beginning with my nightmare or my dream, shall I say, Onana. People are screaming he needs replacing. We need a new centre-half. Okay, our centre-halves are just going down with injuries like you won't believe. So there's a midfield player, what possibly we need. The club needs strengthening, but it's the finances. And will there be enough finances from the sales? We've got quite a few players leaving, so that leaves room for wages and that. But will the money be there? There's enough money to buy these two players, Cunha and Delap. But I'm not too sure whether we will actually get deals over the line for the players Kieran's just mentioned.
Lee Jones, thanks for your super chat. It says Liam Delap won't get any more than 15 goals per season. Well, is that Ipswich? They've just been relegated. Is it 12 goals he's scored in the Premier League this season? I mean, it's not too bad, is it? To be fair, for a young lad there, leading the line. At a club there it's been relegated, but, how much service has he had? He's had to create a lot of his own chances, from what I've seen this season, Delap, to get on the score sheet as well.
I mean, that's your opinion. He'll only get 15 goals. None of us know. But like the style of football, he will get more chances. He will be the main striker. So for me, I think 15 goals. I think it'll be more than that. Based on the change and everything and the upgrade in the team, what's coming. So we will be fighting on a few fronts next year, hopefully, and he will be putting him in. He puts the chances away. No one really puts the chances away on a regular basis here at United. He will be deadly as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think Delap or Gyökeres would be actually Amarin's first choice? Does it even matter?
No, I don't think it matters. Everybody knows we need a striker. Everybody knows we need a striker. And these are decent strikers. So at the end of the day, whichever one comes in, if they come in, I think everyone should be happy with it. I don't think people really should be getting on a downer on a young lad coming from Ipswich who's had to battle all season to shine, really. So for me, people sort of need to mellow down. Even on Gyökeres, some people don't like Gyökeres. Some people think he's overrated. It's the same with Delap. So people just need to sort of settle down, let this team develop, let it change, because there is big changes coming, and let's see at the end of next season. Because the big job at hand is by Ruben Amorim. He has to get this team gelling and get them playing, and to bring in fresh faces and a striker, which will give everyone an uplift, I think.
Do you think as well that they've looked at some of the transfer business that they even done themselves last summer, but over previous seasons, where they're looking at it and thinking, we need to buy players here who are like near enough proven in the Premier League, instead of going over to maybe Portugal, going to Sporting Lisbon, getting Gyökeres, who, is he proven in the Premier League? No, he's not.
Look, I think they'll be looking at all the signings, what they've made. You look at Euro. I mean, out there, people are talking that he's made of glass. This injury keeps coming back. They might have made a terrible mistake with him. And then you go and look at the Mason Mount deal, what went on. Obviously, that wasn't under Ratcliffe. But at the end of the day, they're going to look at how and what goes on in these medicals and everything else and the history of these players. And it's been overlooked, and we've been very, very poor when we've recruited players. Really, the talent and the character. I think when you're going for players, one of the main things to go for is the character of the player. And what I want and what I like about Delap is a fighter. So I don't think he'll take any messing when he comes here. He won't be shying away. He'll be there. He'll be outspoken, and he'll be getting in everyone's faces. So for me, you need characters, and we've not had characters. We've had individuals, a lot of individuals, too many, to be honest.
Yeah, with the Euro situation, obviously there was rumours before he signed for United about his metatarsal, that there was a bit of an issue there that flagged up, but you've got to look at it from this morning. You know, he got injured the other week, but he's back in training as well, so there can't be too much of an issue there. Seems to be maybe as well they're getting their act together in the medical department as well, getting players back before they actually was diagnosed of like a return date. You know, I've seen Ahmad actually praising the medical staff in terms of how they treated him and got him back in time.
Yeah,
Recent weeks.
Ahmad was a long-term injury, and he's done really well to get back where he is. Yoro just keeps having these little injuries and all that, and it all seems to be the same place. So that's what I'm talking about when people are saying he's made of glass, and it just seems to be the same problem recurring. The same with Mason Mount.
Yeah, I've heard people say that, but if you're looking actually on his stats this season, he's not really broke down from what I remember, really. Yoro, he had obviously that long-term one where he got injured against Rangers in the pre-season, but apart from that, to me, he's been largely available, apart from maybe one illness that he suffered. But apart from that, he's been there and available. He's not always played the 90 minutes, but I think that's just probably doing the right thing with a young lad at his age, bringing him in and bringing him out for a certain amount of games.
Listen, I don't trust this medical staff and all that, and you're talking about he's played certain amounts in certain games and they sort of rest him and all that. I think that's what you're alluding to. I don't think so. I think they're worried about him constantly breaking down, and I think that's why he's not got the full amount of games, 90 minutes on a regular basis. But hey, I might be wrong.
Yeah, I was just going to go back to a question that come through earlier on. Yeah, that's it. Tony Potch, he says, what's your thoughts on the rumour that Amorim was going to walk in January? And I did actually see that. I'm pretty sure it was from Mark Ogden. Does he work for ESPN? Probably amongst others. And, you know, it's typical media, again, before a cup final, to come out with stories like this. And it's probably a story that could have some substance to it. You know, there might have been talks and things going on in the background where he wasn't happy, thinking about resigning, but he's then sat on it.
You wouldn't sit on a story like that.
It's a strange one, isn't it?
It's not strange, it's the media. Every cup final, no matter what they play, there's always a story beforehand. I've had it all my life. You know, people out there will tell you that in the newspapers, big story comes about a player misbehaving or something, and they keep the story till a certain time. He's kept that. You would never keep that story. Not a chance. So for me, Ogden again, very bitter, twisted man. I've heard his comments on many, many occasions. So I take what he says with a pinch of salt. So I'm having none of it.
He's having none of it. None of it. Craig GC from our members club has gifted 5 memberships. The 5 people who've been gifted them memberships, big thank you to Craig, the legend. Adamski says, I like Xerxes, he's improved. I'd get rid of Højlund for any amount and bring in a main striker. I mean, we've all got to be... Look, it's a huge, huge game tomorrow. I don't want to be too negative on individual players. I'm sure we'll end up doing a video, though, once this season's finished after the Aston Villa game, where we'll all have a chat together about who we think's good enough, who we think's got a long-term future at this club. But I think for now, I mean, huge game tomorrow. I think we've all got to stick together and be one tomorrow and just get right behind the team, the manager and the football club.
Listen, you know, players, you can turn around, and I do, and you think, right, well, he's not playing well, he's not doing good, okay? And Højlund isn't doing good, right? But there is no way I advocate for Højlund to go. I think he can still turn it round with a change of personnel on that pitch and better players suited to the tactics Ruben Amorim wants to play. So I think he has to be given the chance. He's young enough, okay? And he's had a big thing to carry on his shoulder, okay? The main striker, okay, with no crosses hardly. That's what he's had to deal with. So I do give criticism to Højlund about certain things in his play, but I also give him a pass on many, many other things, right, about the service, what he's received. So for me, absolute madness to get rid of him, and I can't see United getting rid of him so quickly for the amount of money they paid, because they look at it and think there's a big loss there. So for me, at his age, he's still got time and he can turn it round. And what you have to do is cross them fingers. And then you've just got to cross the fingers that we're bringing enough players to be able to turn the football round and get better results next season.
DJ Superfly Guy and Spartan Warrior, what's with the arguing between yourselves there? I mean, I've just tried giving a bit of a speech there, a rallying cry, for us all to stick together, get behind our team, support the club, and it seems like both of you are arguing amongst yourselves over an opinion. So just chill out. We're all Reds together, and if someone's got a difference of opinion, I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's why we love chatting about football, innit? So just take on board each other's opinions. And if you don't agree, you don't agree. It's as simple as that.
I've just got to go back to the finances with United. 30 million for Delap. Like I say, it's a steal. And if you don't think that's a steal in this day and age, then there's something wrong. But I look at it, the Cunha deal, talks there, reports saying there's no problem paying that because of the 3 instalments Wolves are willing to accept. So that's good. So United have the finances. Yeah. So I just hope that we get, and this is what you've all got to hope for in the next couple of weeks, and you want it done early. And I go back to how I've really sort of hammered on it. Within the first 2 weeks, June the 1st, transfer window opens. That's when you want it sorted with these players, what we're selling and the finances. And then we can look at probably getting 1 or 2 more players from somewhere else.
Yeah, Richie says 1 striker isn't enough.
No.
If we only get 1 and gets injured or suspended, I won't read that word out just in case there's any kids watching, but I'm sure you can imagine what he said. And it's not just that. It's the amount of games you'll be playing as well, which I'm sure you'll agree with. If we do get in the Champions League for next season, the domestic cup competitions as well, we certainly need to improve on our Premier League position next year. So it's going to be a tough season next season with the amount of games, and we need competition and quality for places.
Listen, you need minimum 2 in every position. We've always said that. But listen, that's what you want. You want competition. But I just look at things and I say to myself, just get as many players as you can. Don't worry about if you've got 2 or 3. But if you've just got 2 strikers, listen, that's not enough. Not for a club what wants to improve and go for other competitions and challenge. Me personally, I look at it, if we win the Europa, we're in the Champions League. What does that say about the Carabao Cup? What does it say about the FA Cup? This squad won't be strong enough to compete on them. So what would Ruben Amorim do? Now, we have to decide as fans, hang on a minute, you're in the Champions League, let's give it a go, okay? Let's give it a go, let's see how far we can go. But that Carabao Cup, you've just got to play all the youngsters. That's how I see it. Lots of other teams do it. All the big teams in the Champions League do it. So, for me, you've just got to discard that Carabao Cup. Now, do you discard the FA Cup? I'm not too sure, but it just depends who you get in the first round. If you've got someone like, say, Torquay away, then what I would do, I would just send the young guns down there and say, just go for it. And if they don't do well and we're out of it, we're out of it, so long as they're still fighting in that Champions League. That's how I look at it. So I think there's got to be some soul searching from within the club on how they manage these players. They play too many games and you can't compete on every level. You just can't do it. So I think somewhere along the line, Ruben Amorim, the coaching staff and everyone else will have to decide what they've got to do. And we're not going to get loads of players in, but we should get 4 players in at least. And that will help the progression. But you won't progress if you fight on all fronts. That's my opinion. And I've spoke to other people. They agree with me. Some don't agree with me.
On the FA Cup there, I'm a huge fan of the FA Cup. I just love the history of it. Other people out there might disagree, generations, age, etc. But that was a real low point for me, getting knocked out of the FA Cup by Fulham. I mean, I was proper sick that day.
Well, it's not getting...
Performance as well. It was considering what it meant, the FA Cup, the holders as well.
It wasn't getting knocked out. You get beat, that's fine. But it was the performance. But that performance we've seen all year, and we shouldn't expect them performances again next year. But if they are, then there'll be blue murder. Someone will cop it.
Yeah, only wins as Delap can control the ball with what I've seen, and with what I've seen as well, mate. I've seen
holds the ball up.
seen a few games, can hold the ball up. You know, he's got that strength there where defenders will be bouncing off him, not the other way around. And his ball carrying for me is really, really good as well, which will only improve, you would think, as well. And Adamski says, do we have the money for 2 strikers and Cunha and a CDM, though?
Well, we've talked about the Delap and Cunha. United are happy.
Whether they qualify for the Champions League or not.
No, they've got the money. The report says that, so that's fine. You know, they know how they're paying for Cunha. They know how they'll pay for Delap. That's no problem. It's the other players, and this is all down to the finances and the men in suits doing the job. But listen, they had better do the job because they've had months, 6 months at least, to work out what they've got to do in the summer, and action should be taken straight away.
Yeah, Yarlis says a striker, Cunha, a midfielder and a keeper, and I will be happy. We really, really need a new keeper.
Well, that's 4 players, and that's acceptable in this window. And then it's the following year, you have to look at it. And obviously, if we get in the Champions League, then you look at the following summer and say, there'll be extra money to spend. And that's how you've got to look at it. We've got to be able to sign 4 players, and possibly in them 4 positions, what you've just said, to be honest, and then make a challenge and then improve. And it's a stepping stone. So 2028 will soon be upon us.
Yeah, Dada says, Cunha, what a player. Shades of Michael Laudrup, threading balls. And the good thing what I've seen about Cunha, I've not seen as much of Cunha than I have actually Delap, but he looks like he can use both feet as well, score. And it just looks like he's got that intensity there as well. A little bit of that bite to him as well, you know, maybe a little bit of hot-headedness, but surely, like, you need that as well, don't you? Some of the top players have always had that, and if you take that away from him, you know, they're not that same player, are they? And I do like that about, yeah, I need that. I think this team needs that as well.
Yeah, you need that bite, but he's got the goal scoring ability, and he can get a goal out of nothing. That's what you want. I'm not going to go right overboard on him. I think he's a solid player, and what it is, where he plays, he scores goals. And if you get a forward, whether it's Delap or Gyökeres, then they score goals. You can't ask for any more, to be honest.
Paul Hagati from our members club says we're creeping up to 90k lad subscribers. We are indeed, mate, and it's a huge, huge effort from every single one of you out there who continues to get involved in the live streams, the videos, you know, having your own opinions as well and just spreading the word. And look, to be quite honest with you out there, it's much appreciated from everyone here. We just never would have thought when we first started this that we'd even have 10k, and, you know, we're not far off 90k, so much appreciated to everyone.
Now, just talking about subscribers and everything else like that, just to keep you informed, we will be doing an aftermatch. We should be doing a video tomorrow morning, but what it is, we won't be doing a video on Thursday because, unfortunately, we've got a funeral 10 o'clock in the morning, which is Kieran's grandfather and his grandmother, so we've got a double burial to do at 10 o'clock Thursday morning. So we won't be back. We'll be back with the aftermatch, but we won't be back doing another video until Friday, and then that's when we'll have a full discussion on the victory and everything else like that. So I'm not talking defeat because I don't expect defeat.
Indeed. One thing I have been thinking of, though, you know, gets over the line with the Cunha deal. Who's them 2 number 10s for you next season? Let me know what you think. But for me, it has to be Cunha and Ahmad. I don't mind Ahmad playing in the right wing spot. Right, I do think we need someone in there, a signing. Whether we'll get that in the summer remains to be seen. But I think it will be Cunha, Ahmad, and I think we'll start seeing Bruno deeper in that midfield too.
Okay, I'll state this right now.
Do it.
Right now. I am not going to discuss who's going to be in the 10 role, the 9 role, or this role until the transfers are done. Then I'll decide what we've got. I am not going to smash my head on the eve, right, of a European final, worrying about who's going to be in what position. All I want to see is that final, and then I want to see progress on bringing players in. And then when we've got all the players, then I'll look at it and go, well, where are we? Are we able? Are we going to be better than next year? That's how I'm going to look at it. And I'm not shouting at you, son, right? I'm just saying I'm not wasting my breath, my time, right, doing my own heading. I'm hardly sleeping.
Yeah, so there's us with a lack of content then all summer, just wondering what we've played
No.
bringing in, trying to get a discussion going.
No, a player comes in, we'll discuss where he plays, but who finally plays in that, you won't know, right, until the end of the transfer window. So tactics and everything, sometimes I love it, sometimes I don't. But I'm on the eve of a final, and everyone should be concentrating on that because, like I say, people aren't getting asleep. I'm not getting asleep. We're all worried about it because there's big pressure on it. The pressure's building by the hour. The players now, as we talk, they're eating. They're on the way to the airport. They'll be flying out in an hour or so. So it's all building up. Do you know what I mean? And it's all about the final. You know, and luckily, well, not luckily, you know, I'm thankful that there is a conversation about Delap because I do really like him, and I hope that they get him.
Just thanks to everyone in the chat getting involved with your kind words, with us not being able to do a video on Thursday with the funeral that we've got arranged. So much appreciated everyone who's with your kind words. Richie says, Cherky, I think the lad from Leon, I think you mean, lots of noise about INEOS in talks with him. Every French outlet reporting it. Also, it is someone that we actually discussed before the away leg over there, Cherky. But when I seen him against Manchester United, it was only little flashes, really. There wasn't really much there where I thought, yeah, that's a player that I definitely want here at United. I do think there's probably better options out there.
I think every time we've played a team in the last 4 or 5 months, within 48 hours, we've been linked to one of their players, a Brentford player, a Fulham player, a Wolves player, you name it, right? Every time we play someone and get beat, get smashed, right, we're linked to one of their players. I am sick to death of it. So Aston Villa, who will we be linked with? Marcus Rashford.
Coming back.
Coming back. You know it.
Yeah, there'd be a lot.
You know that's coming.
Yeah, there'd be a build-up with that. Probably.
Marcus Rashford wants to fight for his place.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of talk, as you've all probably heard out there. He wants to go to Barcelona. He thinks Manchester United will be willing to accept £40 million. I'd take 20 right now, to be honest with you.
It's got nothing to do with money, with Marcus Rashford. He's absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish. A poor attitude, right? There's a player there, when he was 17, Livramento, from Livramento from Newcastle, destroyed him, and he's been finished since then. His attitude's poor. It's got nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with money. He's absolute rubbish.
So, on that note, I've been speaking to you. I think a lot of people would be shocked with Newcastle next season. I think if they produce some good signings like they have been doing over the course of the last 2 or 3 seasons, I think they will be up there next season. But yeah, I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today, getting involved in the chat as usual. A few people actually mentioning Martinez, with you mentioning about Aston Villa. I did see the same noise out there yesterday, and I'm struggling to look for the actual source of the actual news, with Martinez being linked to United, but I couldn't find it. And
right, well, there's your Aston Villa story where everyone will start going on about it. Do you know what I mean? Right? No, he's not coming to United.
Like I say, thanks to Johnny.
Maybe I'm ratty through not having a sleep and that, right? And it might be that. But the thing is, Rashford, Martinez, look, it's the final, and it's tomorrow. So what we've got to do is wish that team well. Hope they get over there in good spirits, turn it on, and then we come home with the trophy. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to go on about that trophy.
Who do you think the 2 number 10s will be tomorrow? I was waiting, you didn't buy it, did you?
No.
Thanks for joining us, everyone, getting involved. Smash the like on today's video to help support the channel. Like I think it was Paul from our members club earlier on, we are on the road to 90,000 subscribers. A huge effort. It's much appreciated by everyone here. Got a fabulous community, all talking Manchester United. We all seem to be on the wavelength of each other as well. So, yeah, smash a like on the video, subscribe as well for more content. And we'll be back tomorrow with another live video with a build-up towards that Europa League final. Enjoy your day. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.